Please, Ma, don't jump. I will marry him. The words flew from my mouth before I could even think. My heart was beating so fast, like a drum in my chest. I was on my knees on the cold bridge, holding a bag of groceries, looking up at Mrs. Eleanor Thompson, the woman I worked for, standing on the wrong side of the bridge railing. The wind blew her gray hair around her face. Her hands gripped the green metal rail so tight her knuckles were white. Cars zoomed past us on the highway. The morning sun made everything look bright, but this moment felt so dark. My knees scraped against the rough concrete. The paper bag crinkled in my shaking hands. A banana peeked out from the top. I'd bought it for Mrs. Thompson's breakfast, thinking it would be a normal Tuesday. Nothing about this was normal. Please, Mrs. Thompson, I cried again. Please come down. My voice cracked. Tears blurred my vision. I could see the traffic moving far below on the highway, tiny cars that looked like toys from up here. But they weren't toys. They were real. And if she fell, I couldn't finish that thought. My stomach twisted into knots. Behind me, I heard expensive shoes hitting the pavement. Running fast. It was him, Mr. Marcus Thompson, the billionaire, the man whose house I cleaned every day, the man whose mother was about to jump off a bridge because of him. Mother! Mother! His voice cracked with fear. I'd never heard him sound like that. Not once in 2 years. Always calm, always controlled, always distant. But now he sounded terrified. He sounded human. But Mrs. Thompson didn't look at him. She looked at me. Her eyes were filled with tear, but also something else. Hope. Do you mean it, Amara? She asked me, her voice shaking. Do you really mean it? I swallowed hard. My throat felt dry. My whole body trembled. Did I mean it? Could I really marry Marcus Thompson? A man who barely noticed I existed? A man who walked past me every morning like I was invisible? A man who lived in a world so different from mine that we might as well be from different planets? The wind picked up. Mrs. Thompson wobbled slightly. I gasped. Careful, I shouted. But looking at Mrs. Thompson's face, this kind woman who always asked about my day, who made sure I ate lunch, who gave me her late daughter's books to read, I knew there was only one answer. Yes, ma'am, I said, my voice stronger now. I mean it, I promise. Just please come back over the railing. You're probably wondering how we ended up on a bridge on a Tuesday morning with a billionaire's mother threatening to jump. Well, let me take you back 3 months. But before we dive in, drop your city in the comments. We'd love to know where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss another powerful story like this. Now let's continue. My name is Amara Johnson. I'm 26 years old. I came to America from Jamaica 5 years ago to study nursing, but life had different plans. My student visa had problems, money got tight, and I ended up working as a live-in housekeeper for the Thompson family in their huge mansion in Connecticut. The mansion was beautiful. 12 bedrooms, marble floors, a garden that looked like something from a magazine, but it felt empty. Cold, like a museum instead of a home. The Thompson family wasn't like families you see on TV. It was just Marcus and his mother, Eleanor. Marcus's father died 10 years ago. His sister, Caroline, died in a car accident 7 years ago. After all that loss, Mrs. Thompson held on to Marcus like he was her last breath of air. Sometimes late at night, I'd hear her crying in her room, soft, quiet sobs that broke my heart. I wanted to knock on her door to comfort her, but I was just the housekeeper. It wasn't my place. And Marcus? He buried himself in work. Thompson Tech Industries was his whole life. He left the house at 6 in the morning and came home at midnight. Sometimes he slept at his office in New York City. The only time I really saw him was Sunday mornings when Mrs. Thompson forced him to have breakfast with her. Those breakfasts were painful to watch. Mrs. Thompson would try to make conversation. Marcus would answer in 1 or 2 words while checking his phone. The silence between them was so thick you could cut it with a knife. I was basically invisible to him. I'd clean his study while he typed on his computer. I'd bring him coffee, and he'd grunt a thanks without looking up. I'd pick up his dry cleaning, organize his files, make sure his favorite foods were always in the kitchen. But he never really saw me. One time I accidentally knocked over a picture frame while dusting his desk. The glass cracked. I froze, terrified he'd be angry, but he just glanced at it and said, "Just throw it away." It was a picture of him with his father and sister, a happy family moment from years ago. The fact that he didn't care about it breaking, that scared me more than any anger could have. Mrs. Thompson, though, she was different. She talked to me, really talked. She asked about my family back in Jamaica. She wanted to know about my dreams. She taught me how to bake her famous apple pie. On my birthday, she gave me a beautiful necklace that belonged to her daughter. "You remind me so much of Caroline," she told me once, touching my cheek gently. "You have the same kindness in your eyes, the same gentle spirit." That made me cry. Nobody had been that nice to me in so long. My own family was far away. I had no friends in Connecticut, no time to make any. Mrs. Thompson became more than just my employer. She became like a mother to me. About 4 months ago, I noticed Mrs. Thompson getting sad. She stopped baking. She'd sit in the garden for hours, just staring at nothing. She stopped eating much. Her clothes started hanging loose on her frame. "Mrs. Thompson, are you feeling okay?" I asked one afternoon, bringing her tea. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Amara, I'm 73 years old. I'm not getting younger. And Marcus, my son is 35 and completely alone. He has no wife, no children, no family except me. What happens when I'm gone? Who will he have?" The fear in her voice made my chest tight. I didn't know what to say. I just held her hand. Her skin felt thin, fragile, like paper. "I've tried everything," she continued, her voice breaking. "I've introduced him to daughters of my friends. I've hired matchmakers. I've begged him to try dating apps. But he says no to everyone. He says he's too busy. He says love is a distraction. Amara, I'm so scared he'll end up old and alone with nothing but money and regrets." My heart hurt for her. I could hear the fear in her voice. Not fear of dying, but fear of leaving her son alone in the world. It was the kind of love that hurt, the kind that kept you up at night. "He'll be okay," I said softly, though I wasn't sure I believed it. "He's strong." "Strong?" She shook her head and a tear rolled down her cheek. "He's broken, Amara. After his father died, and then Caroline. He closed his heart. He doesn't let anyone in anymore, and I don't know how to help him. I'm his mother, and I can't help my own son." Her voice cracked on that last word. My eyes filled with tears watching her pain. Over the next few weeks, Mrs. Thompson got more desperate. She invited women to the house without telling Marcus. Beautiful women, successful women, kind women. She'd ambush him at breakfast with a surprise guest. Every time, Marcus would be polite for 5 minutes, then excuse himself and leave. I'd watch from the kitchen, my heart sinking. These women were lovely. Any man would be lucky to know them. But Marcus treated them like business meetings, something to get through, not enjoy. One time he exploded. I was in the hallway when I heard his voice, loud and angry. "Mother, stop. I'm not a child. I don't need you to find me a wife. I'm fine alone." "You're not fine," Mrs. Thompson yelled back, something I'd never heard her do. Her voice was high, desperate. "You're dying inside, Marcus. You're turning into a robot. When was the last time you smiled? When was the last time you did something that wasn't work?" There was a heavy pause. I pressed myself against the wall, not wanting them to know I was listening. Marcus's voice came out cold. "Work is what matters. Work doesn't leave you. Work doesn't die." The silence that followed was worse than the yelling. Then he walked out. I heard the front door slam so hard the walls shook. Mrs. Thompson cried for hours. I sat with her, holding her, not knowing what to say. What could I say? Her son was shutting her out, and she was running out of time to fix it. Last week, something changed. Mrs. Thompson became very quiet. Too quiet. She smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. It was the kind of smile people wear when they've made a decision, a final decision. She started giving me things. Her jewelry, her books, her favorite scarf. "Why are you giving me all this?" I asked, confused and worried. My hands shook as I held her pearl bracelet. "Because you've been like a daughter to me," she said, fastening the clasp around my wrist. "And I want you to have things to remember me by." A cold feeling washed over me. Mrs. Thompson, you're scaring me. Are you sick? Do you need to see a doctor? She just kissed my forehead, her lips warm against my skin. You're a good girl, Amara. Don't ever forget that you deserve love and happiness. Promise me you won't settle for less. I promise, but no buts, she said softly. Just promise me. That night I heard her on the phone with Marcus. I was passing by her room, carrying fresh towels when her voice stopped me. Her voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that comes before a storm. Marcus, my darling boy, I need you to promise me you'll find someone to love. Promise me you won't be alone forever. I heard his tired voice through the phone, frustrated and impatient. Mother, not this again. I'm hanging up. If you don't promise me, she said quietly, each word careful and measured, then I don't see the point of being here anymore. My blood turned cold. I almost dropped the towels. There was silence. Then Marcus's angry voice. Don't be dramatic, Mother. I have a meeting. The phone clicked off. Mrs. Thompson just stood there, staring at the phone in her hand. Then she smiled, a strange, sad smile that made my stomach drop, and went to her room. She closed the door gently, too gently. I stood in the hallway frozen. Should I knock? Should I say something? But what could I say? I was just the housekeeper. I wish now that I'd knocked. I wish I'd stayed with her. Maybe I could have stopped what was about to happen. This morning, I woke up early like always. The house was quiet, too quiet. Usually I could hear Mrs. Thompson moving around in her room, getting ready for the day. But today there was nothing, just silence. I started making breakfast, trying to ignore the uneasy feeling in my stomach. I scrambled eggs, made toast, cut fruit. But the whole time that feeling grew stronger. Something was wrong. I went to check on Mrs. Thompson, but her bed was empty. Her room was neat, too neat, like she'd cleaned up and organized everything. All her photos were arranged perfectly on her dresser. Her favorite books were stacked in a tidy pile. Her closet was organized by color. It looked like she was preparing to leave. Permanently, on her nightstand was a note. A single white envelope with Marcus and Amara written on it in her elegant handwriting. My hands shook as I picked it up. The paper felt heavy, important. I knew before I opened it that my life was about to change. I unfolded the letter. The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. My dearest Marcus and Amara, I cannot watch my son die inside anymore. I cannot leave this world knowing he'll be alone. If love will not come to him naturally, then I must do something drastic. By the time you read this, I'll be at Westbridge Highway Bridge. Marcus, if you want to see me alive again, bring me a woman who will marry you. Show me you're willing to open your heart. Otherwise, I've made my peace. All my love, Mother, I screamed. The sound ripped from my throat, raw and terrified. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands and called Marcus. He answered on the first ring, his voice annoyed. Amara, why are you calling me? It's 6 a.m. It's your mother, I shouted, my voice breaking. She's at Westbridge Bridge. She left a note. She's going to... I couldn't say the words. I couldn't make them real. I didn't even finish. I heard him curse, words I'd never heard him use. I heard papers flying, things crashing, him running. I'm 20 minutes away, he said, breathing hard. I could hear car doors slamming, an engine starting. Go there now. Keep her talking. Don't let her. Just go. Go. The phone went dead. I grabbed the groceries I'd bought yesterday, still in a bag by the door, and ran. I didn't even think. I just ran. I didn't grab a jacket. I didn't lock the door. I just ran like my life depended on it, because Mrs. Thompson's life did depend on it. The bridge was only 10 minutes on foot. I ran so hard my lungs burned. My feet pounded the pavement. People stared at me, a young woman in her work clothes running and crying, but I didn't care. Please, God, I prayed with every step. Please let her be okay. Please let me get there in time. Please. When I got there, I saw her. Mrs. Thompson, standing on the wrong side of the railing, the highway traffic below, looking so small and fragile against the big sky. The wind whipped her dress around her legs. She looked like she might blow away. Mrs. Thompson, I screamed, my voice cracking. She turned to me slowly. Tears ran down her face, shining in the morning light. Amara, oh sweet child, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't have to see this. Please come down, I begged, moving closer slowly, carefully. My heart hammered. One wrong move and... Please, we can talk about this. There's nothing to talk about, she said sadly, her voice carried away by the wind. I've tried everything. Marcus won't listen. He's going to be alone forever, and I can't bear it. I can't close my eyes for the last time knowing my son will be alone. That's when I heard the car screeching behind me, tires squealing. Marcus jumped out, still in his pajamas and a suit jacket he must have thrown on. His hair was messy. His eyes were wild with fear. He looked younger, vulnerable, human. Mother! Mrs. Thompson looked at him, and something passed between them, years of love and hurt and fear. Did you bring someone, Marcus? She asked, her voice steady despite her tears. Did you bring a woman who'll marry you? Marcus froze. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Mother, please. Come down. We'll talk. I'll try harder. I'll go on dates. Just please. Promises, she cried, and her voice broke my heart. You've made promises before. I'm out of time, Marcus. I need to know you'll be okay. I need to know you won't die alone in that big empty house. Her body swayed. The wind gusted. My heart stopped. That's when the words came out of my mouth. The words that would change everything. Please, Ma, don't jump. I will marry him. Everyone froze. Mrs. Thompson stared at me. Marcus stared at me. Even the wind seemed to stop. The world went silent except for my pounding heart. What? Marcus said, his voice barely a whisper. I stood up from my knees, still holding that stupid bag of groceries. The bread was probably crushed by now. I said I'll marry him. I'll marry Marcus. Mrs. Thompson, I promise. Just please, where are we? Please come back over the railing. Mrs. Thompson's eyes searched my face, really looked at me, like she was trying to see if I was telling the truth. Amara, you don't have to do this. You don't have to sacrifice yourself for me. Yes, I do, I said, and I realized I meant it. Every word. You've been so kind to me. You've treated me like family when I had no one. If marrying Marcus means you'll be safe and happy, then that's what I'll do. I'm not losing you. Not today. Not like this. I turned to Marcus. His face was a mixture of shock, confusion, and something else I couldn't read. For once, I had his full attention. I know you don't love me, I said to him, forcing my voice to stay steady. I know I'm just the housekeeper. I know we're from different worlds, but I care about your mother, and maybe we can help each other. You need someone to make your mother happy. I need to stay in this country, and marriage would help my visa situation. We can make it work. Just, please help me save your mother. The practical words felt wrong coming out of my mouth. This wasn't about visas or arrangements. This was about love, Mrs. Thompson's love for her son, and mine for her. Marcus looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time, really seeing me. His eyes traced my face, my tear-streaked cheeks, my trembling lips, my desperate eyes. Then he did something that shocked me. He walked over slowly, took my hand in his and looked up at his mother. His hand was warm, solid, real. You heard her, Mother, he said, his voice clear and strong. Amara and I are getting married. Now please, please come down. I'm begging you, don't leave me. I can't lose you too. His voice broke on that last word. A tear rolled down his cheek. Mrs. Thompson's face crumbled. Tears poured down her cheeks. Do you mean it? Both of you? You're not just saying this to save me, because I need to know it's real. I mean it, I said firmly, squeezing Marcus's hand. Marcus squeezed back. I mean it too, Mother. I promise. Please come back. Please. For a long moment, the longest moment of my life, Mrs. Thompson just stood there. The wind blew. Cars passed below. My heart hammered so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. Then slowly, carefully, she climbed back over the railing. Her hands shook. Her legs wobbled. Marcus and I both moved forward at the same time, our hands still clasped together. As soon as she was safe, we grabbed her and held her tight. Shashi. Thompson sobbed into our shoulders. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Marcus was shaking. I realized he was crying too. Silent tears that soaked into my shoulder. Don't ever do that again, Mother. Please, I can't lose you. I can't lose anyone else. You're all I have left. We stood there on that bridge, holding each other, three broken people trying to hold each other together. And in that moment, something shifted. Something changed. We became a family. The next few days were strange. Marcus didn't go to work. He stayed home with his mother, making sure she was okay. They talked for hours. Really talked. Maybe for the first time in years. I'd hear their voices through the walls, sometimes laughing, sometimes crying. I kept doing my work, but everything felt different. The house felt different. Marcus would look at me across the room, and there was something new in his eyes. Curiosity, confusion, guilt, wonder. On the third day, he found me in the kitchen. I was chopping vegetables for dinner, trying to act normal, even though nothing was normal anymore. Amara, can we talk? My heart jumped. The knife slipped. I almost cut myself. Of course, Mr. Thompson. Please, he said quietly, pulling out a chair. Call me Marcus. I think we're past formalities now. We're engaged, after all. The word engaged sounded strange coming from his mouth. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd eaten meals alone so many times. You didn't have to do what you did, he said, looking down at his hands, offering to marry me. That was incredibly brave, and I haven't even thanked you properly. I've been a coward. I shrugged. I love your mother. I couldn't let her. I know. He looked up at me, and his eyes were red. Had he been crying? I've been a terrible son, and I've been blind. You've been in this house for 2 years, and I never really saw you. I never asked your favorite color or what makes you laugh. I'm ashamed of that. You were dealing with your own pain, I said softly. He looked at me surprised. My mother told you about my father and Caroline? A little. I'm so sorry for your losses. I can't imagine how hard it's been. He was quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice was thick with emotion. After they died, I decided feelings were dangerous. Love was dangerous. It was easier to just not feel. Focus on work. Stay busy. Stay numb. He paused, swallowing hard. But watching my mother on that bridge, I felt everything. Terror, love, desperation. I realized I'm not numb. I've just been hiding, running away. I didn't know what to say, so I just reached across the table and took his hand. He looked down at our hands, surprised. Then he smiled, a small, sad smile. About our engagement, he continued, we don't have to go through with it if you don't want to. I'll figure out another way to help you with your visa situation. You shouldn't have to marry someone you don't love just to... What about your mother? I interrupted. If we don't get married, she'll be heartbroken. She might even... He nodded slowly. I know, but I also know you deserve more than a fake marriage to a workaholic billionaire who's been ignoring you for 2 years. You deserve someone who sees you. I took a deep breath. My heart pounded. What if it doesn't have to be fake? He blinked. What? What if we really try? I said, my voice shaking but determined. Not for your mother, not for my visa, but for us. What if we get to know each other? Go on dates, see if maybe there's something real here. Maybe this is our chance. Marcus stared at me. You'd be willing to do that? After how I've treated you? After I ignored you for 2 years? You weren't mean to me, I said. You were just absent. But people can change. You're here now, talking to me, seeing me. That's a start. That's more than a start. A small smile appeared on his face. The first real smile I'd ever seen from him. It transformed his whole face. You're remarkable. Do you know that? I felt my cheeks get warm. I'm just Amara. No, he said softly, his eyes locked on mine. You're the woman who saved my mother's life, who offered to sacrifice her own happiness for someone else, who sees the best in people even when they don't deserve it. You're extraordinary, and I've been a fool not to see it. Marcus kept his word. We started dating, real dating. He took time off work. His employees almost fainted when he announced it. He took me to museums where we'd stand in front of paintings and talk about what they meant. He took me to restaurants, fancy ones where I felt out of place until he'd tell a joke and make me laugh. We went to movies. He loved terrible action movies that made me roll my eyes. We walked in Central Park, holding hands like normal people falling in love. One day he took me to the ocean. I told him I missed the water from Jamaica. He rented a whole beach house for the weekend just so I could hear the waves. We walked along the shore, our feet in the cold sand, and he told me about his sister. Caroline was full of life, he said, his voice soft with memory. She laughed at everything, made friends with everyone. She was the opposite of me. He paused, picking up a shell. After she died, it felt like the light went out in our family. My father couldn't handle it. He had a heart attack 6 months later. And my mother, she tried to be strong, but I could see her breaking. And you? I asked gently. I broke too. I just hid it better. He looked at me, his eyes vulnerable. Until you. You're bringing the light back, Amara. I learned he loved terrible action movies, but cried during sad commercials. He learned I sang off-key in the shower, but didn't care what anyone thought. He told me about his fears of not being good enough, of everyone leaving. I told him about my dreams of helping people, of making a difference. Slowly, carefully, we built something real, something neither of us expected. Mrs. Thompson watched us like a proud mother hen. She got her energy back. She started baking again. The house always smelled like cinnamon and apples. She planned our wedding with joy in her eyes, humming while she looked at flowers and venues. I knew it, she told me one day while we were baking together. I knew you two would be perfect for each other. I just needed him to open his eyes. Sometimes love needs a little push. Mrs. Thompson, I said carefully, measuring flour. Did you plan this? The bridge? She looked at me with innocent eyes, but I saw the sparkle in them. Plan what, dear? But I saw the tiny smile on her lips, that clever, clever woman. She'd gambled with her own life, and it had worked. 6 months after the bridge incident, Marcus and I got married for real. Not because we had to, because we wanted to, because somehow, in the strangest way possible, we'd fallen in love. On our wedding day, Marcus pulled me close during our first dance and whispered, "Thank you for saving my mother. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for seeing me when I was invisible to myself." I kissed him, tasting salt from happy tears. Thank you for finally seeing me. Mrs. Thompson cried happy tears all day. She pulled us both aside at the reception, her eyes shining. My beautiful children, she said, holding both our hands. Love is never convenient. It rarely makes sense. But when it's real, it's worth every risk. Even dramatic ones on bridges. We all laughed, because what else could we do? She'd risked everything for love, and love had won. Today, as I sit in our home, not the mansion, but a cozy house Marcus and I bought together, with Mrs. Thompson visiting and Marcus cooking dinner, badly but trying so hard, I think about that morning on the bridge. I think about how one desperate decision changed everything. How love can bloom in the strangest soil. How sometimes the people we overlook are the people who'll save us. How the smallest act of courage can change your entire life. Marcus is different now. He still works hard, but he comes home for dinner every night. He laughs more. Deep, real laughs that fill the house with joy. He lives more. And when he looks at me, I see everything I never knew I needed. Love, partnership, home, family. Mrs. Thompson is healthy and happy. She spoils us. She hints about grandbabies every chance she gets. She bakes pies and tells embarrassing stories about Marcus as a child. She's teaching me all her recipes so I can pass them down someday. And me? I'm finishing my nursing degree. Marcus made sure of it, paying my tuition and cheering me on through every exam. But more than that, I'm loved, really, truly loved. I belong somewhere. I have a family. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't grabbed those groceries and run to that bridge. If I hadn't said those words, if I'd stayed silent and let fear win. Would Mrs. Thompson have jumped? Would Marcus have lost her? Would I still be invisible, cleaning a house that wasn't mine, dreaming of a life I thought I'd never have? But then Marcus kisses my forehead, or Mrs. Thompson squeezes my hand. And I know I was exactly where I was supposed to be, exactly when I needed to be there. Sometimes the greatest blessings come from the scariest moments. So what do you think? Was Mrs. Thompson wrong for what she did on that bridge? Or was she a genius who knew exactly how to bring two people together? Do you think desperate times call for desperate measures when it comes to love? Would you have done the same thing if you were Amara? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me your story. Have you ever made a life-changing decision in a moment of crisis? And if this story touched your heart, please don't forget to subscribe to the Emotional Stories channel right here on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our amazing stories about love, hope, and second chances. Trust me, we have so many more incredible tales to share with you. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, sometimes the greatest love stories start in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. Sometimes the person meant for you has been right there all along, just waiting to be seen. See you in the next story.